What are some of the stereotypes or myths that are perpetrated? Let's look at some of the history that's perpetrated by some of the Washita Moors. There are myths that they come from a mythical place called Mu, and when placed under scrutiny and questioning, they don't have a shred of evidence that this place even exists. It's been scholastically debunked. Them as a group have been officially denounced by the same maps that they present as evidence. They present James Churchward's maps as proof and evidence, and the Churchward family has officially denounced them specifically as a group, as well as specific scholars that push the Mu agenda. They've been denounced from the family and still use the maps after the family has denounced them. So that is to be called into question. And also, there's not one shred of any linguistical evidence, not one shred of architectural evidence of any mother civilization being attributed to this mythical place called Mu. They try to pull up the underwater structure of in Japan, but number one, that's not a continent. Number two, the age that's attributed to that particular structure is nowhere near an ancient structure in comparison to African structures that are still above ground today. It's not even close. It's like 3,000 years old. We have structures in both locations that are already older than that. 4,000 at the most. So that doesn't hold any water. We do have a caller that would like to come through, and I'm going to be bringing in this caller in just one moment. Area code 678. Area code 678. You're on the air with Mortar Words Radio. Peace.
Black African Power. I'm a Raw Squad Up. What's good-ish?
I'm a Raw Squad Up. How we doing,
Man, I'm just, glad you're doing this show, man. And I know it's going to be very informative to kind of break some of the myths. And I think it's a diabolical plot, to take away the true mother civilization and to misinform our people, to take them away from Africa, because, Africa is where all the land and resources is, And so I'm glad we're going to get you the truth, put some real chronological dates in that. And I'm going to let y'all know right now, I do understand that the original indigenous population of the Americas was African. Let y'all know that right now. I'm going to say that emphatically they were. But to the point where some brothers and sisters has taken it to take it away from Mother Africa, I think it's a disgrace, and I call it racism, white supremacy done by black people, and it's crazy.
I have to concur 100%. I mean, what you have is, think about what's going on in Africa right now. There's a land grab going on in Africa. You have Ivy League schools. You also have Spelman is one of the colleges as well, doing an African land grab. And as they're grabbing up all of this land in Africa, these real tangible resources, you have Negroes that are talking about they're from a land called Mu, while the tangible land of Africa is being snatched up by Chinese and American corporations right now. So, we need not to be wasting time on that which does not exist.
Correct. Or island of Atlantis.
Correct. Which could very likely, be in existence for Atlantis. Atlantis being an island or a city in the Mediterranean area, which is where it's reportedly to exist in many different parts of history. That's very likely could exist. It is not a mother culture. It is not a mother culture of Africa, but it could very well have been a city that got destroyed because there were different kind of islands that did get submerged. So that's likely to exist. That has absolutely no bearing on African civilization or anything else. You know what I mean? So, and there are other, island places that got covered, and there are land masses that get swept away by tectonic, shifting, the plate shifting. But don't get it twisted.
Yes.
People make more. Yes, sir.
Okay, go ahead.
You there? Yeah. People make more out of it than what it is. You know what I mean? In order to push an agenda, they try to make something more than what it is. So we have to be responsible. You know what I mean?
Mm-hmm. They probably should read the chapter in Sheikh Andy Diop's book on Atlantis, and also read the chapter in Mark Bunnell's work. I think it's book 1. He did a whole segment on Atlantis. And so that'll kind of give you a kind of a framework on what's really going on. It's important to do some scholarly research on that. It's there for you. Now, if you want the super mystical flying through the air, then that's what it is. And I think it's all a plot to take away from real building structures that you can find. Not to take away from the things that you find in North America or China, but the reality is, if you're dealing with any ancient culture, and this is what you remember, we had Selassie on before. Remember that, right? And he was emphatically, his name was Jamie. In case y'all don't know him, he came up against the pre-Armor squad.
Right.
Nobody could get this fool off the internet. He was beating the Olmecs up, saying they was indigenous. It wasn't black people. He was running rampant. I got in contact with him, and I got him on the show, and we proceeded to beat him down. Okay, y'all can go back and listen to him. Me and Ish beat him down. We also had the brother on the phone, Dr. Clyde Winters, okay, because he was attacking that brother. He's attacking one of our elders. Came 2 out of order to 1 of our elders, and we straightened the whole thing out. Y'all can go listen to the show. The point I'm trying to make is whenever you find any stone megalith statue or monolith like temples, you're talking about masonry, okay? We're not talking about speculative. We're talking about operation. You're talking about African building techniques. Anywhere you go on the planet and you find big-ass statues, you're trying to figure out how the hell they moved it, that's African technology. And I got that from the mouth of Mother Swanson. If you don't know who Mother Swanson is, she was the personal secretary of the brother John Henry Clark. Okay? So I'm telling you now, information is there. You just got to be willing to want to get it.
Yeah. And I was just asking a few questions because, like I was, I think either you or Brother Unk said that, it's kind of crazy that we would claim that all of the Olmecs was African. Me,
right.
From my research, I know that we had mixed in with other tribes that was here, with other races, basically.
Exactly. And I mean, that's just using common sense and being natural about it. You know what I mean? You get some people who get so clouded in the black doctrine, they make it sound as if, like, when the Olmecs or whenever any of the Africans came here, as if they only fucked around with black people. No, they fucked around with the native indigenous population. They were brought in. Many of them rose up into the ranks of chiefs or top warriors, and they had mixed children who have African features. You know what I mean? And so, I mean, that's just natural that you're going to, mate, procreate, and have beautiful seeds. We all the same, what I mean? We're the same, the melanated people, so who gives a shit? As far as I'm concerned.
Well, you know what? That's a good point. They just didn't have the same concept of a race as we did. I don't think they had a dividing line. Now we have a dividing line, right? But they didn't have that same concept. I guess it was more based upon your actions and the way you live, how they dealt with you. You know what I'm saying? Little bit different concept. Little bit different. They never seen them as being. They understood they was an extension of themselves, especially when they dealt with the indigenous population in different places.
Exactly. And I was posting over the last week, you have a lot of Native American people who don't even know what to call themselves. You have Mexican people who, call themselves Hispanic, which is a slave term. They call themselves Latino, which is a slave term. So they don't even know what to call themselves. They're more confused with race, or just as confused as race as the so-called Negro is. They have no real identity. All they're doing is adopting their colonization titles. But the real and true title of the indigenous people is called Nican Flaka. So unless they're really calling themselves a Nican Flaka, they really don't know what the hell they're even, what they're supposed to call themselves. And you spell Nican Flaka as N-I-C like Charles, A-N-T-L-A-C-A. It's pronounced as Flocka with an F, but it's really T-L-A-C-A. And this is an indigenous language that they call themselves. And that means that when you say Nican Flocka, you're saying that this is my land. And that's what the native people told the Spaniards when the Spaniards would ask, who are you? They would tell them Nican Flocka. So, the average person, they don't even know that. You know what I mean? So these are important parts of the history that we try to share, as in, trying to let the people know.
But in Eileen's Bay scholarship, he said that the darker-skinned people was already here when the slave boats came. Is that true?
He talks about the land to move too, so his scholarship is kind of shocking.
Yeah, his scholarship, I'm about to say, that's my man. And that's my man. Eileen Bay was my man, yo, but he be having foolish shit.
We do, man.
Yeah, more man. That's my, and trust me, Eileen Bay was my man. My man. See, you know what? I think we haven't learned how to separate, because listen, when I come up, I listen to Eileen Bay, right? Man, I used to love the way he put words together. But serious scholars will beat that shit to death. With linguistics, they be like, that word, like this. Let me give you a good one, like television. The word television does not break down to television. I mean, it's just a sound good word. And you get it.
Yeah.
And it's very, you know what I'm saying? And Eileen does a lot of that. It sound good words, they sound good, and you get what he's saying, right? But when you start putting a hard scholarship on it, it kind of falls apart. So we get it. So Eileen is not really a scholar in the true sense of the word. You know what I'm saying? He just, because I tell you what, go look at the debate between Eileen Bay and Seti. Okay, you'll see.
That's what I was talking about.
Seti uses Yeah, he put the scholarship on his ass, so he was crazy. I felt bad because Eileen is my man.
Yeah. I mean, he's a good dude, and he has a lot of vast knowledge and information. You know what I mean? But he don't filter his scholarship properly, so you can't drink from him freely. He does, you know what I mean? He embellishes, and his scholarship is shoddy. I can't put it no other way.
Eileen Bay?
Yeah.
Bay is my man.
Yeah,
oh my God.
That's my man.
It sounds good on the surface, but once you start putting some scrutiny on there, you start to realize, man, you know what I mean?
Yeah, that's another level.
And like I said, he talks about move. So, you know what I mean? That alone. You know what I mean? What he need to do
Eileen Bay talks about move.
Yeah. And, if he ain't banging on Scientology hardcore, then I ain't got no time for him no way. So, you know what I mean? He mean well in
the line, man.
Yeah. He 347, right?
Yeah, he 347 with this phone.
347.
Keep going out. He got around outside.
Okay. All right. Brother Haru, you back on, brother. You there, Haru?
Yeah, he there. He gonna come in.
All right. Well, yeah, he's like, all right, 347 is open whenever he want to come back through. So, yeah, but like I said, I like Eileen, though. He's a good man. Like I mean, his intentions are good and everything. He just got to tighten up on his backstroke. You know what I mean?
Oh, my gosh. I think y'all giving Eileen Bay a hard time.
No,
it's just playing with the move thingy.
He might have been, but he be throwing up some church word maps. just like the rest of them. And, you know, if he can't, and if none of them are going to challenge the church war family like I did, if y'all not going to go challenge the church war family to stop using them people maps, man, because Jack Church Ward is all right with me. Y'all can contact him. He's in Clearwater, Florida, my-moo.com. He's denounced certain scholars specifically. He's denounced certain groups specifically. So if y'all going to keep on using his family maps, goddammit, then face off on him, because the church war family has officially said that Africa is the mother civilization. So if y'all still using them maps and they telling, and the family telling you that Africa is the mother civilization, then y'all got to show and prove. God damn it. If not, then shut up. And shout out to the god, Mr. Holistism, for holding it down with responsible scholarship, because I fucks with Holistism. That's my family right there. You know what I mean? So that's what time it is. You know what I mean? He's on the front line. He don't walk these streets. He bangs out the scholarship. You know what I mean? So when they, you know, the little clowns that, you know, got some little slip talk, you know, to say, just bring it to the Armor Rock Squad. You know what I mean? Come on the show, call on the show, and we'll be happy to tear your weak ass up with your weak ass.
Who you calling weak? I mean,
okay. I know.
Man, expose him, man.